Okay, guys, welcome back. Episode 25. After show, Elemental Shamans. There's Skype. There's the button. Woo! Okay. Kitty cats.
Yeah, we've got them both. Here's mine.
Pussy time.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Oh my
Off
goodness.
stream. no, no.
Oh
No,
my
mine
goodness.
just gets really mad because I never hang out with him while I'm raiding, and I'm like, "Go away, stop bothering me." And then he's like, "No, what are you doing?" So it makes him very sad.
Jeez.
Oh.
I abandon him.
He has all those boxes to play around though behind you with. Come on. that
I
guy
know,
did
and
something.
he loves the boxes. I mean, if you guys are watching the show every week, you'll see my cat like jump up around the boxes behind me at some point. So.
Yep. Yep, indeed. And Tickle, who is your little friend?
Okay, so technically his name is Cat Von Drakesoft. My viewers named
What?
him.
Oh,
But I
okay.
don't. Yeah, my viewers named him. I don't call him that. I actually call him either Kitty or Arthas because that was my original name for him. So
Oh no, he's camera
and
shy.
he wants down.
It's fine. It makes me sad because when I got my house, I had to send my cat to my parents' place because of the pet deposit and stuff was going to be just like, no, thank you. So
Oh, see, I just don't pay my pet deposit, so I solved that problem because my apartment complex technically has one, but I never paid it.
Wow.
But I know that the realtor knows I have a cat because I live across from the model, so she's always like, "Hey, how's the cat doing today?" And like, they know I have one, but I
But
guess
they don't charge you. Huh.
my complex is fairly disorganized, so I guess
Fair
they just don't really care. So
Fair enough.
I don't live in a very nice apartment complex.
Well. So again, guys, after show time is just we talk to chat room, and we'll talk to you guys here until about 15 or 20 after 6. If you guys have any questions, you can send them in on the Twitter. I'm gonna grab my iPad right here and see if any came in on the emails. Real quick, like. Oh, that might have been.
Oh, and as chat asks, Tickle does stream on Twitch. I'll make sure to link both Leeds and
Yes,
Tickle's
right
Twitches
here.
by the end of the show. So
Yep.
I do not. I wish I did more, but I always love having guests on who do stream.
Yep. So, yeah, we had a question that came in from Snowy Glow of Ravencrest EU. Asks, what add-ons would you recommend for Elemental Shaman?
Okay, I'm answering this one. I guess
Okay.
weak auras is weak auras or power auras or what's the other one called?
Tell
I
me
don't know.
when.
Tell me when exactly.
Yeah,
This
tell me
add-on
when.
is a must-have. I would say just get all the debuffs tracked in the middle of your screen and you can never ever fail, and get your procs and everything in the middle of your screen as well. And I myself like a lot Button Forge, as I don't have like a Elf UI or something like that where I can have an add-on to track the spell in the middle of my screen. So I like that one. And beside that, I guess just boss mod or something like that, or Omni CC, I guess. But this is just baseline World of Warcraft add-ons that you have. So weak auras and Button Forge, I would say.
Yeah, Button Forge. That was the one that you talked about
Button
earlier
Forge.
today.
Yeah.
That you like. Yeah, Button Forge. Okay.
Okay.
What? Tickle, what about you?
Definitely weak auras.
Yeah.
I use it for basically everything. I haven't tried Button Forge, but I think I'm gonna give that a try. Otherwise, like weak auras is the most important. I actually have a couple weak aura strings in the Ellie guide for Stormlash and Skull Banner because those are good to track. So you should check those out.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll switch up the music here real quick. Okay.
Funny how most of our guests all recommend some of the same add-ons. Like, it's interesting to hear what specific ones work for their class, but I mean, you'll hear the same thing from most fairly serious raiders. Weak auras, similar things.
I mean, what was the add-on that we had for a stint there that drew on your screen? Oh god, what was
AVR.
that called?
AVR.
Yeah, AVR. Oh my goodness, the days of AVR. And people still
Which
stood
one
in
was it?
stuff. It was a mod that would draw radiuses around your character, like in 3D space, of where bad effects are, or where things are going, or had really big pop-ups, and they broke that for the game because it was just like playing the game for you. So, yeah.
And I
Isn't it
remember
just
when.
like- Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, isn't it just like Deus Ex back in ICC? You know, remember this boss mod that used to do
Yes.
drawings as well? Yeah, I guess it's just like
Yeah,
that.
they broke
very
both
similar.
of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They broke both of them. Yeah. So.
In fact, I remember when Bigwigs and DBM were implementing range checkers, that they were concerned that would be borderline AVR-esque, and then it turns out that it was fine because AVR would draw around you in real time, but a range checker is just like radar dots. But I mean, now it seems like it's really obvious that a range checker is not nearly as bad. But at the time,
Yeah.
like back in T11 and stuff, right when they were writing those, we have Omega who rates DBM in my guild, but he's pretty tight with the guys who rate bigwigs. Like they trade information and stuff, and they were both concerned that they were maybe crossing a line that shouldn't be crossed. But I mean, I guess if you're going to be one of those add-on authors that is paying attention to what Blizzard wants and doesn't want you to have, then it's okay. Oh.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. Because the only reason why AVR and the other one were really big deals because they literally took away any of the need for Blizzard to make spell effects. It drew them on your screen again anyway and told you where to go to get whatever them. So it ruined that whole dichotomy. So
Yeah.
Alcoholic. Oh, go ahead.
Bartender was mentioned in chat.
Oh?
I'm pretty sure that at least I know I use LVUI, and I know Tickle uses LVUI too from looking at her screen and looking at her stream, and a lot of the same things that Bartender does. Or Tidy Plates is another one that you hear recommended all the time.
Yeah.
That stuff is built. There are a lot of different add-ons that do sort of the same thing, and those
Sure.
things are built in. Leeds, I'm not sure if do you use Elv or a replacement like that?
Nah, I use basically standard UI. I guess Bay has a screenshot as I can link one. Just give me a second and I can link my UI. I have it.
yeah.
I have it in like 10 seconds.
Sure, I'll bring it up.
I've basically standard UI with just some add-ons, but I link it in Skype and in Stream Chat. I just link it in Stream Chat, I guess. This should be it. Yep. So yeah, this is basically standard UI except like 2 or 3 add-ons. Or 2 or 3 add-ons that you can really see.
Well, hey, if it works, I mean, those raid frames have gotten so much better these days than they used to be. They're very functional, the ones that Blizzard provides.
Yeah, and also have overlay over them. You see how they look? They look like not like this would you normally look. Yeah, it's something called Santa UI font. It's like a UI font also over the map. This like standard map, standard raid frame, and I really do like it.
I see.
And you can see the method sprite, the add-on over the chat, which shows you the skull banner and stormlash of the people in the raid when it's up and how much CD they have and all that. This
Very
is really
nice.
useful. I would say that is like, maybe I forgot to mention earlier that a lot of shamans actually are not paying attention on their stormlashes. When I enter LFR, I see like 7 shamans and I know, okay, this is going to be maximum of 2 stormlashes used the whole duration, and of
You're
course
lucky
both are
if
going
there
to
are
drop
2.
it same time.
Yeah, you'll have like 4 drawn at the same time during heroism. Of course.
Yeah, and this is really important. This is maybe something we also forgot to talk about earlier, that Stormlash really had a huge impact on making Shamans viable, because it did so much on the burst. I remember on Leishan first phase, which was a tough DPS race back then, and we had like 3 Moonkin DPS and we had 2 Shamans, and they did so much with the Stormlash. It's like 12 million damage each in the first 10 seconds. Same for Skullbanner. I mean, people forget about those raid CDs. They're really important.
It's weird. There's an interesting like fall off though. Certain classes really take more advantage of Stormlash. It's changed now to be not too bad because of now it's like the less of a chance but does more damage. So if you only cast a certain amount of spells, then it actually should hit the same versus like a dual wield class. But at first, it was awful on certain classes, but then crazy on other ones. So it's good to see it's come
overall across the raid. It's very strong.
Oh, of course, and you chain 4 of them during your Bloodlust or Heroism. So if you have 4 Shaman, so.
Yeah,
and I know there's always this like interesting decision about when does everybody have to drop their Stormlash, like who has to use the GCD during their cooldowns. I know my raid leader delegates that shit.
No, I delegate it too. Yeah, I always do my elemental. My elemental shamans always last though. Frost doesn't last.
Who
I
does it
use
second?
mine mid-ascendance.
Who does it second, Bay?
Oh, I usually go on the pull because I drop it like as we pulling, and then it's me on the other enhancement shaman, or it's resto, and then elemental. I always do elemental last. Yep.
You have to put resto on second, else it's so shit during ascendant.
Yeah.
I have to use mine during Ascendance, and I wish I could switch that up. In fact, I'm gonna fight for that because we have our other Ellie gets to use his right at the beginning, so he drops his first, and then I drop mine mid Ascendance, and then the enhanced people go. So it's
So you don't want to drop it during Ascendance, then you don't.
No, because that's a GCD you're wasting.
That's what I mean. So I let him.
But that's when I have to use mine, and I get yelled at if I don't. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why I let Frost go last because his Ascendance is already over by that point. So yeah, that's fine. Yep. Nobo after show. Who is that? Is that Total Biscuit? That emote? What is that? I don't even know what that is. But The other question came in, which I didn't address, but it's from CPZ on US Mal'Ganis, was for Tickle Totem, do you run a Shaman website? It's right there.
Dude, does
I knew that was coming. I knew he was going to be here.
Yeah, I had
CPZ, I love you, man, but go away.
Is it
Who is
somebody
the
from
guy?
your guild?
No, he actually trolled my stream during Spoils Progression. Brought their entire guild and had every single one of them asking if I run a Shaman website. I had to turn my stream off because it was so distracting.
Really?
Aw.
Oh.
Yeah, it was bad.
You gotta get them views, though. Gotta get that subscriber button. Gotta make that internet money. Come on
Oh,
now.
I don't know. Views aren't worth anything.
Yeah.
I say as somebody who doesn't stream unless Bay starts the show up and tells me to come co-host, so.
Well, yeah. Yep. Wow. Yeah.
People are always asking me if I stream, especially now that progression is over, and I'm like, well, I don't really know what I would stream. I mean, do you really want to see me do CMs on my bad shaman where I don't use Stormlash until somebody says, Anna, where's your Stormlash at? I guess this is a button I should be pushing.
Oh, what's that?
Do people really want to see that streamed? I mean, no. So I like seeing when other people stream, but I don't do it myself.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't only stream. I started streaming Star Wars Republic and like Super NES games and stuff. So most of the time right now it's been progression. But I have a new game coming. I used to, when I did Chrono Trigger, I do the voiceovers for all the characters. That's a lot of fun. I speak all the dialogue in different voices. That's a little fun stuff that I do on my stream. But yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of work. People think streaming is like really easy. You just turn on your camera and just do whatever you want. But you have to be like an entertainer. You gotta like talk to chat. You gotta make a show of it. Because if you just sit there and just play the game, super boring. No one's gonna watch that.
If you're not interacting with chat, it's really lame.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. Mm-hmm.
I think streaming is really tiring, though. I don't know.
Oh, it is.
I can speak for myself. I'm not streaming at all right now anymore because I
Yep.
just can't be asked doing it. It lags me more as well during the raid, and it's so annoying.
I want to know what raiding feels like not streaming because I've streamed the last 4 tiers of content. Like every night we raid, I stream. I don't even know what it would be like to like not have to like talk ever during a 4-hour raid night. That'd be weird. That'd be really weird. Let's see. Stuma from you go back to chat. Let's go back to Altaholic Chow had a question. Let's find it again.
Was it the one about the set bonuses? Because I know the gem sockets. Because I know he wanted that one answered.
Yes, it was the secondary stats important. So say that if you have too much hit, is it worth going a pure gem to then lose a socket bonus, or a socket bonus is really important even if you like are wasting hit by going over the cap?
Well, okay, if you get nothing, you answer then.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm assuming he's talking about blue sockets. If he's talking about hit.
Well, I guess the socket that I'm thinking of, the only socket that I can think of that would be that strong would be helm or legs. So
Yeah.
I think helm, is that like a socket problem you have? Because 120 is got to be a major point. It's not a chest or a gloves or anything like that. So I guess would you forego the socket bonus for the better raw, or would you keep it? Would you go for the socket bonus? Like how important is like 120 int versus the stat you would waste?
That's
I mean,
a
I
super big
imagine
question.
that can be answered by stat weights, right?
You know, nice.
Well, isn't the guy like saying like he overcaps the intelligence completely? Okay, let's see. He has an item with a blue socket, and it has 60 intelligence bonus, and he's asking if he should go for a mixed gem, if even though the hit is wasted, or isn't that
Yeah.
the question? Well, that's
Yes.
well, I mean, just everybody can tell them that's a no because 80 intellect from the gem and 60 intellect from the bonus is 140, and this is 20 intellect burst than putting a raw gem. I mean, if the hit is wasted completely, if it isn't, you
Yeah,
put a mixed
okay.
gem.
Right.
Hmm.
Well, but that's like not, yeah.
When I'm over
Maybe I
I know a
misunderstood
lot of
this.
classes were over the hit cap for quite some time.
Yeah.
I know that I had sympathy with some of our casters. Our Ellie Shaman had the same problem as some of the melee did, but in those blue sockets, I mean, I was gemming haste stamina if I wanted to actually hit that bonus, or I was just breaking the bonus if it wasn't worthwhile. But that's an answer that that's a question that can be answered by stat weights. You just figure out how much you're gaining. If it's better to hit the bonus, hit the bonus. If it's not better to hit the bonus, then ignore the bonus. You know, you don't need to hit it if it's not worth anything to you.
Yeah, I think he mentioned here, he said in his chest. So I'm picturing, I know there's a chest or some shoulders or something that has 2 blue sockets with the 120 int. So I think in a case like that, like, yeah, stat weights obviously come into play there. But if you're already way over hit cap, Like you have to do the math here. So if you're talking about like,
Yeah.
let's say you're going for an int spirit gem or the haste spirit gem. Okay, so like if you're going to the int spirit gem, you're talking about the 120 int from the socket bonus plus 80 on each of those gems. So that's 280 intellect. So 280 intellect versus let's say 640 haste or 640 mastery. So if you're looking at 2 times haste or 2 times mastery is worth more than int, then yeah, you can skip it there because 640 mastery is worth more than 280 intellect if that's what your stat weights are telling you. If you're talking about doing the haste spirit gems or whatever, it's kind of same argument there because you're still looking at twice the amount of haste versus the amount of intellect. If it's a different color though, like if it's a yellow gem or a red gem, I mean, there's no reason not to go for the hybrid ones if it's a red one or something. So
Okay.
it really depends on the socket color there. So like the socket is going to make a big difference. But like I said, if you've got 2 blue sockets and 120 int and you're way over hit cap already, you might as well, if your stat weights are telling you that the secondaries are worth enough, you might as well go for the pure gems. But you have to do the math. Like you can't just give a straight answer. You have to do the math and add the different stats together and compare that to your stat weights.
Now that's again, this is relevant for right now, but a lot of that's going to be so much simpler in Warlords.
Oh, yeah.
Are you looking forward to it being simpler or not looking forward to being simpler? We've asked like multiple guests this before, but like, I mean,
Yeah.
like Coltrane put it like, when I get a piece of gear, I can just put it on now. I don't have to take it and reforge it and gem it and enchant it and find out if it's like you just put the piece of gear on and you know it's an upgrade. Like there's that's ease of the gearing process, but then for other people, I guess when you get like higher into like when you want to min-max and work your stats around and stuff, it's like gone.
I really like that, to be
You
honest.
like it though?
Yeah, well, it goes kind of a bit in the way of Diablo gearing with like, you never have a perfect item, I guess, at least how I understood it.
Yeah.
That you always have like, you have Warforged, you have different stats, you have like an extra socket on it or not, you have, you know, in some fights you want the movement speed on it, some fights you want the cleave or something like that. So that can be annoying as well, but I do like the removal of expertise, hit, whatever, like that. I do like that, to be honest.
Okay. But
So
take-
you actually like the fact that that gear can have so many different stat combinations that you can't kind of check mark off all of the best in slot items.
Well, if I get
you
the
not?
best in slot items, I like it. If I'm like so unlucky as I'm right now, I don't like it. But in
Okay.
general, I think it's a cool idea. I do like that there's a lot of changes about the game, because before I knew about the expansion, I was like, okay, I'm playing the new class, I'm done with the elemental champ, I'm really done. And because I already wanted to play monk and MOP, but it was just so shit weak, so I decided to stay elemental. But I was like so sad there was no new class and no new race, but I guess the whole removal or like, you know, rework of the stats and, you know, kind of makes up for it a bit, but
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't like it. I think the game is, I don't know,
Well, it's
you're getting tired of it
well,
if it's always the same.
That's true, but I guess it's to come down to the point that like we have Thunderforged and Warforged gear, these last two tiers, and where it's like it's sort of a fun mechanic on paper. For a lot of people, it's a headache, and now we're getting the fact that gem sockets are going to be more random, tertiary stats are going to be random on certain pieces of gear, and then them are also they might still keep the Warforging or Thunderforging system for heroic raids in normal raids. So you have all these different roles on loot now. So yeah, like Chess talking about how there'll still be a BIS for gearing, but you might never even see it, ever. So it really comes down to why do they have all this extra roly crap? I don't know. I think it's a little frustrating, personally.
What I must say is what I don't like is the idea. Well, okay, the developers have the idea of you are always excited for a raid if you can get gear improvements.
Sure.
But I'm a really competitive person, so you know, like what did I tweet? I thought it was a really cool thing I tweeted. Oh god, wait. Oh my god. Okay, I have to think about it. I have to check it back what I tweeted. But in general, I just want to say that I rather have everybody on the same gear, more or less, and then you know you can like race for DPS and all that.
Yeah.
Then always have different conditions. I always really like them, and that's why I'm really not motivated. Whoops, for the game at all right now, just because I have so shit gear because of the ban. And in future it's going to
Yeah.
be even worse because you have this person with like this and this gear and this items, and he has like cleave stats, and he's just rolling over your DPS, and I don't like that. Like, I'd rather have a race with same conditions than race for the gear or something like that. I'm not excited for a raid to get new gear. I'm rather excited for a raid to race for the DPS with same conditions. To have a skill competition and not like, oh well, this guy has 5 more item level, this and this stats on it. It's over. And I don't know.
Well,
that's how I feel at least.
Beast is bringing up in chat why care about BIS? It ruins farm if you don't have anything to continue to go into instance. I think the only carrot on a stick that most top guilds worry about is the mounts now. Like, that's a lot of the big like handshake to all your raiders that have been here for this whole time is why we're, once you kill Hero Garrosh, you gotta kill him 10 to 12 more times based on your roster to get everyone a mount. That's what we're doing anyway. So that's, multiple weeks and weeks and weeks and you're done. You'll still have time before the expansion comes out to not play, but from a gearing standpoint, it can be super frustrating because it really only matters before you kill bosses.
Right.
So I know we had people that were using trinkets and weapons from the tier before more than halfway through this tier because of all the different random stuff that can drop. If it's not an upgrade, it has to be Thunderforged, it has to be Warforged, blah, 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 blah. And imagine that if it doesn't have a socket bonus, it doesn't have this tertiary stat, not an upgrade. So there's all this gear that could just be totally like lost to this system of proverbial random rolls of what you get on your gear. I don't think it'd be that bad. I'm kind of painting a huge, ugly picture for it, but we'll see.
I mean, I think we'll see. And we've been over that topic and we'll be over it again. But I don't know if we really understand what it's going to be like until we're actually in the Warlord system, seeing all of the different roles that can happen on gear. Because comparing it to the way that we feel today about being disappointed if the boss doesn't drop your piece of loot, I really don't think that's going to feel the same as being disappointed that the boss didn't drop the piece of loot with like 8 different roles that happened perfectly. I just don't know if it's going to be the same. And if I'm wrong, I don't think I'm going to know that I'm wrong until we've been through the first tier and we've realized what that feels like and whether it feels good or whether it feels bad.
That's true.
So, but that's just the way that I feel about it. I think that we have to wait to see.
Yep. I mean, everyone's crying havoc right now, and Convert to Raid has it best. They made a little skit with a phone number you can call. You can call 100 calm the F down if you have problems freaking out about Warlords of Draenor. So I think it'll be fine, but we'll see. We shall see.
I have some more questions that came out of chat.
I had one too.
Some little questions for our guests today. Somebody in chat asked how you guys came up with your names, and I really like to know how people came up with the name of their character because it's something that sort of defines them as they play WoW and as their guildmates talk to them. So Tickle, let's hear from you first. Where did that name come from?
Okay, so I wasn't always Tickle. In fact, I think my shaman's original name was Zarathustra backwards because at the time I was really obsessed with Nietzsche. I don't know why, but I was. So I changed that. My brother had this cute name for his shaman. It was Elemento P, as in like Elemento P. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I stole that. I stole that. But then I transferred to his server and he had it, so I couldn't be that anymore. I was like, okay, I have to think of a new name. What can I be? And I didn't want to go back to the Zarathustra one because I'm like, I'm over that. That's so silly.
just so bad until they hit huge stat points, which hopefully in 6.0 they fix them up a little bit. Yep, we shall see. What about you, Tickle?
Okay, so Anna, you're gonna like this. I think my first choice is actually Prop Paladin. I actually tanked my Paladin was my main alt all through Dragon Soul, and I tanked all of Dragon Soul on her. Although I don't think we ever actually killed Heroic Deathwing, but that was because the group kind of fell apart and not because we couldn't do it. And that was like way after nerfs and everything. But I think she would probably be my first choice. But if I had to stay DPS, it might actually be Boomkin, because I've been leveling one and I'm having a lot of fun with her so far. So that, or I mean, I could heal on my Mistweaver, but I don't really have a preference. I'm kind of open. I hated Ret in Kata. If it's better now, maybe, but in Kata it sucked, and I was just like, oh, I don't want to Ret. So.
See, you have the opposite opinion of me.
Yeah.
Oh, I hated it. Sorry.
It's funny because my favorite alt, if I ever got asked that same question that you guys just got asked, is I would play my Ellie if I couldn't play my Red. It's my favorite alt. So. But that's mostly just because I really like the theme of like the elemental caster. I like that idea. I like that whole feeling. I like the way Shaman work. I really like hybrids. So that's why I've kind of it's got a soft spot in my heart if I had to not raid on my Ret. And also just with the fact that melee are just not fun at all. If I swapped to range, that's what I would swap to. So, provided they were viable.
Yeah, I think what I've always answered. I've said like I wouldn't play Mage or Warlock, something like Pure. Because I've never played a Pure class. I played Druid, to Shaman, to Paladin. I've never played a Pure class like ever. I had like ults before, but I never really played them very often. So I don't know what like all 3 specs are DPS. What is this? So I don't know what that would be like. That's what I would choose. So.
Did you say that you had some questions, Faye?
I had one. It was about can you make a cast sequence macro? Let me get who it was from. I don't want to.
Oh no, it was that guy who said it like 6 times. I think he was just trolling.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering. It was Stuma, Shadow Council. It was a different one. Yeah, is like how do elementals macro this master the macro? You can't make cast sequence macros that really work. That's not a thing. They don't work properly.
You could do it for Prot back in Wrath, and that was, but it took 2 buttons. You could do it with 2 buttons for Prot and Wrath.
Yeah, it's not a thing. You don't do cast sequence macros right now. Especially if you want to min max, you want to be on top of your priority list based on the procs that happen and react to them. Not just spam 2 buttons. We had a prot warrior back in the day in ICC that wanted to macro everything together. And he didn't last that long in the guild.
I remember so many prots macroing Holy Shield to some of their abilities, like macroing Holy Shield to Crusader Strike, back when Holy Shield was like a 10-second buff. Yeah. Or I don't remember how many seconds it was, but it was a short-term buff. The Paladins will remember what I'm talking about here. And a lot of Paladins just macroed it to Crusader Strike because it was off the GCD, and I was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, just
made me so sad.
Not good. Well, anything else pressing from chat? This has been about half an hour or so, usually about it. What do you got?
Chat did ask what their favorite encounters are, and that's another one of those questions we like to get asked to people. So let's hear it, guys. Let's go for Tickle first. What was your favorite encounter over the last, I guess, expansion? So go with Mom.
All right, so if we go back to tier 14, Windlord. I always get Bladelord and Windlord mixed up. So Windlord was the 4th one.
Windlord had blades. Bladelord had wind.
Yeah. So the 4th one, the one on Heroic especially, because when he did his like enrage thing, I forget what it was called, where he's taking like extra damage and you're just like spamming the crap out of everything. It's like, oh, that was so much fun. It was so juicy. It's like, oh, it's good.
Okay.
I know, it's like I like the ones where I can do a lot of damage because they're fun. So going on that,
I completely understand that.
For tier 15, Darumu, because hello, Ellie, Ice Walls, it was the best.
That fight.
But yes, but tier 16, actually, I really like Siegecrafter, and not just because I can do a lot of damage, because we have our Ellies on the mines, on the boss and the mines the entire time. So we're still doing a lot of damage, but I actually like it because we get to use a lot more of our toolkit than we do on other fights. In fact, during progression, our other Ellie and I were kind of joking about how, like, we need more jobs. Like, give us more jobs, because we're already slowing and throwing down Earthquake and, like, using our healing cooldowns and, like, doing all this stuff. Like, give us more, because we're not doing enough already. So I thought it was fun because like there's so much going on with that fight already. Like you're moving around, you're dealing with all these things reactively. Like we kill the lasers, so we've got the missiles up still, we've got the crawler mines, just like all this stuff you have to dodge, and you're moving and having to still use all your utility. Like I just thought it was a lot of fun. So
What about you, Leeds?
Well, must say that my favorite encounter in this tier definitely is also Siegecrafter, especially the tactic how we played. I have to admit though, the first time we reached this boss, I was saying this is so shit, and also playing Brokers on it, like figuring out the strategy. I must admit I'm not really a strategic guy when it comes down to, well, like creating it from the scratch. You know, I think I'm really good at optimizing stuff. You know, I think I know a lot of stuff over the years, which you can optimize, where you can optimize position. But having the masterminds of the guild, creating it from the scratch, going for a lot of downy breaks, you know, for the guys not really involved in all that belt talk. But in the execution, it was really nice to play, I have to say. I also really like Lei Shen. This is probably my favorite encounter in the whole expansion, because it was so nice tuned. It was, yet again, annoying to create from the scratch the strategy, but you had so many options as well, creating the strategy, positioning the raid. And I really do like when you have a lot of free space to decide about raid positioning, because you can optimize a lot as a guild then. Yeah. When the encounter more or less gives you where you have to stand, it's, I don't know. It's just easier in general and just straightforward. And I really do like that. But yeah, those are more or less the only two ones I really, really liked. And I have to also say that huge shout out to the lead encounter designer, Ian Hatzi Costas, like the Watcher guy. That I think the fights in general are getting really, really way better than they used to be. Because in the past, looking back at a fight like Ragnaros, it was more the gear holding you back, and nowadays you can improve so much because fights like Lei Shen give you so much opportunities to enhance your rate and optimize that you can catch up for that. You know, on the Ragnaros, if you made the meteors or not, it was not too much optimizing possible. But nowadays you can optimize so much and therefore enhance your rate's DPS by positioning. See Garrosh as well. They give you a whole big room, and you can decide: do you send the rogues, do you like portal left and right, shooting the engineer? And I really do like that. So I have to give a huge shout out to the encounter designers on that.
I like. I don't know if I thought Anna smiled a little bit, but I like how you pronounced Ian's name. That was pretty good.
Hatzi Costas.
No, I would agree that I think it's really cool what they've been doing with encounters these days. And it really makes me excited as somebody who's very serious and excited about raiding to hear the people who are racing for World First be just as satisfied with those encounters as I feel, because I feel like I'm a fairly competitive raider. But if you guys are raiding at your level and are also feeling like there are different challenges that you can see in different encounters, and they're not all just really straightforward and boring, and that there are places where you can optimize, then that's kind of exciting. So glad to hear that you guys enjoyed it.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about. I think we took Heroic Lei Shen off the table most of the time we asked this question, because I think like everyone agrees it was a great fight because you get to control the entire encounter. That's also why people really like Black Fuse, and that's a big post that was on Mana Flask about that is controlled encounters, because he's comparing Animus and Black Fuse, epic bosses basically, and they're how player interaction, and it really comes down to player skill and execution, is a lot better than like RNG element and just like spam healing fights and just kind of like, you know, patchwork encounters. So yeah, we've had a lot of really nice ones this tier, and I think some of the dungeon design has been kind of meh, but I think we'll see 6.0. I've said it like every episode in the past that 6.0 is going to be awesome for raiding. I'm looking forward to it. A lot of fun.
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
But anything else? I think I need to round table it again here. I think it's time to hit the button another time. Let's transition into this, because we need to get out of here. The after show, of course, is after every main show. We just kind of hang out and talk with chat room or Twitch, or Twitter, I should say, and then we check our email and stuff. So again, if you guys have questions though for Resto Druids, for Hamlet and Jar, send them in now. Don't need to wait a whole week. Send them in. Send them in now. Go down to the bottom link down there and submit a question to Ask a Boss. And you can always ask us during the after show as well. But if you want to help make us the actual show and be featured in the actual show itself, then go over there, hit the links down below. Hit up our YouTube for all the VODs in the past. And, yep, all the links are down below. Super easy for you guys. I'm going to tell you one more time, though. Leeds from Method. Twitter, Leedsy Thank you again, Leeds, for being here.
Thanks. Can I give a shout out as well?
Yeah, go
yes,
ahead.
of course.
Okay, I want to give a shout out to my awesome guildmates that without them I wouldn't be playing after I got banned. I must say it's really fun with them to play, and they were really all helpful. And you know, like I got banned, I came with my blue gate character basically to the raid, got carried Garish Heroic. Well, I did carry them on brokers, so that's kind of fair only. But
fair,
you know,
fair.
And also to my
That
change mode
modesty right
mates
there.
that I'm doing
Yeah.
change modes with, they are really nice as well. They did the same to me. Without them, I guess I wouldn't be playing either. Yeah, I have to say thanks to them. Well, I don't know. That's just it.
Well,
Awesome.
it's good to enjoy the people that you play with, and you know we've loved having all of you guys
Yeah.
Method on the show. So
Yep. Absolutely. Especially with the special guest we have. It's like a third special guest, which just goes eyebrows sometimes. Like, it's hard to fill the cameras sometimes. You have a third region. Tickle from Pure. You can go follow her at twitch.tv. Tickle Totem. Thanks for being on the show again.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. It was a lot of fun. Too bad
Yes.
we couldn't get Leeds on camera. Couldn't get it.
Ah, sorry.
We'll have to wait. Co-host of Final Boss TV, the lovely Annafiel. You can follow her on Twitter at Annafiel.
at Annafiel, yep.
We'll see you guys next week. And there's my face. I'm at Bay TLM on the Twitch, and all my other relevant social media is there. But again, next week is Jar from Capital Vices and the Scarab Lord from Elitist Jerks himself, Hamlet. We're doing Resto Druids. It's a lot to say in one breath. Woo! All right, so we'll see you guys next week, 1 PST, 4 p.m. EST, and 10 CET, right here on Final Boss TV. And until then, we'll talk to you in the comments and on Twitter. Have a great week. Have a good reset. And we will see you later, guys. Bye-bye.
See you later.
Goodbye. See ya.
Bye.